I guess a number of reasons. The farm has been doing farm-wide soil testing since the Farm Hub started, and a lot of the biological indicators of the soil health were pretty low. So we had been incorporating cover crops into our rotation already, and there was a lot of interest in demonstrating roll and crimp for other farmers to see how it could work in their systems. So there's a combination of soil health reasons and just mission alignment, trying to do something that is like experimenting with organic systems for other farmers. Also, we're in the floodplain, so having a cover crop that is holding the soil in the chance that there's a out of season flood, it'd be helpful to have the ground covered.
Bueno, hemos usado el trigo, parte del soya y intentamos una vez con el maíz también.
Yeah, because the biggest challenges that we have had in no-till, there's hardly any equipment to cultivate no-till crops. There's some, but I don't think they're that effective. And also the yield. So the yield is gonna be a little bit less than compared to bare ground. Yeah, I feel like the weeds and the yield are the more, I guess, challenges, and also find the right cover crop to use. I feel like that's also a challenge. Like some cover crops may work well for some crops, but for others it won't work as well.
Just add corn has been really difficult. We tried a bunch of no-till corn and had very little success. Corn just seems to really like having some tillage. Dry beans, pinto beans do pretty well in no-till. Soybeans have been done well in no-till. We've done some spring wheat into no-till as well, which has been good for weed control, but not, yeah. But we're still trying to figure out which cover crops suit that rotation for spring wheat.
No, nomás el éxito yo pienso que también ha sido de que casi la mayoría de los granos que sembramos los hemos cosechado a pesar de que ha sido años secos o años muy mojados. Casi la mayoría del grano lo hemos cosechado.
Yeah, I guess in a year where it doesn't rain that much, I feel like we have more success. And also if you have a little bit of a dry spring. So this year we had like a little dry time in the spring, so the moisture that was in the ground, the rye basically just took it out of it, and that will also impact the growth of your beans or whatever crop you have on the ground. But yeah, I mean, here it rains a lot. I mean, this year it's been raining every week, so that's gonna impact with either weeds and diseases for your crop.
The soil the soil health has been improving since we started farming with a lot more cover crops and organic no-till. Our organic matter is slightly coming up. Our aggregate stability is improving. It's hard to tell whether it's like has to do with the no-till or has to do with the cover crop use. But since we're doing cover crops anyway, it's like forcing us to grow more cover crops or tilt our rotation toward prioritizing cover crops. So it also means sort of deciding which markets we can enter and which crops we grow based on being able to incorporate no-till. Yeah, we try and our crops are split 50-50 between stuff that's harvested in July and crops that are harvested in October, November, so that we can't really get a winter rye established following soybeans or corn in this climate, but we can following a spring wheat or winter wheat or a field we make straw bales in. And we also started growing yellow peas for feed this year, which also allows us to get a cover crop in for the following year.
Bueno, siempre lo hemos semillado más o menos como a mediados de septiembre. Hemos echado entre 150 a 165 libras por acre. Cobertura que tenemos ahorita aquí donde estamos, en la parcela 11, invierno pasado la sembramos una semana antes de lo siempre previsto. Sí, parece que sí funciona un poco mejor, sí, un poco más denso, pero sí se mira que ha sido un poco diferente, donde lo siembra uno un poco más temprano para que cubra un poco más la tierra.
We just spread some compost on it. I think it was 1,500 or 1,000 pounds to the acre between that. But yeah, we just did one this year on top of the rye in the spring. So we used a roller crimper to terminate the rye. But yeah, after rolling, we wait maybe more than 3 days or a little bit more to seed the cash crop. Because what we have done in the past when we roll the rye and then we just plant like 2 days after, some of the rye is still green, so that might still stand back up. So we let it get dry more, and so when we plant, the planter also doesn't have issues with it, because on the back of the planter there are some wheels that the rye can get wrapped around it when it's still green, and we have seen that when it's drier, it doesn't tangle as much.
We have found it useful to increase the seeding rate. I'm not sure if it's necessary, but it's definitely good insurance. I mean, we've done this for 5 years, 6 years, and every year it's nerve-wracking. Whether it's, I'm definitely worried that things aren't going to come up, but they always do. I think in terms of seeding rate increase, we've maybe done, so if we do 100,000 seeds per acre of black beans in bare ground, we do 150,000 seeds in no-till.
Bueno, ahora hacemos la no labranza con una plantadora de 8 surcos. Solamente la modificación que le hemos hecho a la plantadora tiene como unos limpiadores enfrente, que esos tuvimos que removerlos para que no provocara abrir la cobertura y quedara la tierra al aire libre y así provocar que saliera más hierba. Solamente pusimos esa modificación para poder usar esa sembradora en no labranza. Bueno, ya esta temporada se terminó, pero ya pienso que para la otra creo que le hace falta otra modificación. Son las atrás lleva una clase de puedo decir unas ruedas que esos cierran donde cae la semilla, y para no labranza necesitamos mejor hacerle un cambio para que no se enrede el centeno en las llantas y pueda trabajar un poco mejor. Donde va cada surco lleva una bolsa de aire, que esa trae una especie de compresora, que esa uno la prende para darle presión a cada surco donde va plantando, y esa es la única que usa para que si necesita más presión, le da una más presión para que no se levante donde esté más denso la cobertura.
We have used the interrow more. We plan to not use it as much, so that's why we see a higher rate of cover crop seed. But with the interrow mower, you can get the weeds that are in between the rows, but the weeds that are in rows are a little harder to get. This year, the farm got a weed zapper. We didn't try it in the dry beans, but we did try it in our soybeans on our till ground. But yeah, on the black beans, we didn't try it because this can shoot up vines and they wrap around the weed. And we were afraid that the weed zapper was gonna kill the weed and also the bean.
Yeah, the first year we did no-till dry beans, we were concerned that the beans wouldn't have enough energy to come up through the rye, and so we used a zone builder and GPS to try and line up the planter to where the zone builder cut a furrow, and it looked great, but it does expose a lot of soil between the same issue with the row cleaners on front of the planter. It was exposing too much soil, and so that was areas where weeds germinated. Yeah, I mean, next year we sort of like to try to do some strip tillage ahead of planting the rye, and then trying to find the same line the next year when we plant the beans through the rye.
We tried a summer mix this year for dry beans, and I mean a lot of weeds came through there. Also, I mean, it wasn't raw; it was just left there, winter kill, and we just plant right on top of it. But yeah, maybe next year we can try a higher rate of seeding of that mix because it grew bigger than where the rye is. So it was significantly bigger than where the rye is right now. So yeah, maybe we'll try that more in the future.
During that same period of time where the soil was too dry in the rye, in the summer cover crop, it was like very moist and chunky. It was like there wasn't even a drought. So.
Start small. Like, yeah, don't get too ahead of yourself. It's gonna be very challenging. You're not gonna have, I mean, depending on how you work your soil and all that, and the cover crops that you use, you might not have the same yield as you would in bare ground. But yeah, I guess just start small.